fucking helicopter going over town? God damn. Hello everyone, my name is Deckerlink, the trained unprofessional, and welcome back to Major Minor! On the last episode, we started to look through this, like a shelter. I don't remember what it's called, but it's underground bunker. It's a bunker, fucking bunker, Archie Bunker, motherfucker! And we're going and talking to people. We already talked to Akron, Alaska, and now we're going to talk to other people, I imagine, unless they're all dead! We'll see. As soon as I exit, I look around. It doesn't look or smell any better out here. Of course, Akron wouldn't tell us where we were. It was probably for the best, anyway. Who knew how Max could be tracking us? Or try to track us? I turned a few corners before running into Rook. Oh, hey, you! Hi! Is my affection not good enough for you? My saving your life isn't good enough for you, you fucking gel hair motherfucker? Hey there, William. I'm glad to see you're up and about. Did Akron give you one hell of a speech? I have to say, I was definitely skeptical. But it turns out he knows what he's doing. I knew Singe was acting a little odd lately. But I didn't know he was planning this. An international sting operation? Well, it's good to know that Max was caught. But I didn't know how involved Singe was. I mean, he was playing us all along? Was there ever going to be a tour? Or was the whole thing just a front? Yo, hello! How are you? That's good to hear! Conversation is just not a thing in this world! I worked for him, and I don't even know. I knew it was Max all along, you know. Of course you did! But you threatened all of your lives. I couldn't tell anyone else, or boom. Akron's story got a little bizarre. No one else believed it but me. I got to see Max's power firsthand. I've never seen anyone move like that. A normal girl could never take me down. I know. You fucking, you know, just because you survived a bomb does not mean that you're fucking Mr. Macho Man. Ooh yeah, you punk bitch! Oh, Jesus. Plus, she knew things she just couldn't. I wouldn't believe it if I didn't see it. She could disappear as she saw fit. She jumped around like crazy. She had to have been spying on all of us. So how in the fuck are we... How did she get captured? If she can do that. She could just fucking... Oh, you're about to catch me? Bloop. Out of existence. And then just leave. She had to have been spying on all of us. She preyed on our weaknesses. I've never seen anybody do that before. Wow, Akron must have told them all a lot. But it makes sense that the others wouldn't believe it. The assumption that someone could control time is crazy enough to simply laugh away unless you experienced it. And I heard what Max said on the speaker. Something about you saving the world, or did she say worlds? I can't remember. I just know that this is above me. I'm not gonna get involved. Max just picked me because of our bond. Whatever else you have to do, I don't think it's any of my business. I'll just wait here until we can leave. That's probably for the best. I wonder how long we'd be here though. Rook seems to be taking all this in stride. Well, you kind of saved my— KIND OF?! Bitch! I'll believe anything you say after that. The previous evidence just helps support it. You've given me no reason to doubt you. If Akron was lying, you'd tell me. But so far, both stories seem to line up. Anyway, I won't keep you any longer. I'm sure you need to make the rounds. Everybody should know that you're okay. What? My bond with Rook was strong enough. Okay! The thing I've been bitching about for 7 episodes is fine? What? I'm at -1, man! How was I supposed to know it was okay? Oh, Jesus! Although I have to ask you one thing. I heard Akron say something interesting. Not that I was spying on you or anything. Sound travels down here, you know? I can even hear Shock talking from here. I can't. Nice save, though. He said something that intrigued me. He mentioned bringing people back. Something about his dead sister. He's a very serious guy, isn't he? He wouldn't make something like that up. Is there really a way to bring people back? I don't need to know the specifics. He just probably pulled that out of thin air. It's true, Akron was a very serious guy. I tell Rook that it seems like a possibility. A lot of things were still up in the air. But there were people I wanted to bring back too. So, there's a chance it's possible? I wasn't just hearing things then? Can you promise me something, William? Please, bring back Keela. Even if there's just a tiny chance, I can't live knowing it was at his expense. I feel like I'm a monument to his death. I can't just walk around acting cool. It's eating away at me from the inside. You have to bring him back, William. He didn't deserve to die for no reason. We all deserve better than that, you know? Yeah, sure. Of course I'd bring Keela back. It'd be one of the first things I'd do. There was lots of unknown variables at play. He has my word. If it's possible, I'll do it. Thank you so much. I know it seems really far-fetched. In fact, this whole situation does, but maybe that's why I believe it so easily. There's a chance for us to correct our mistakes. Anybody would suspend belief for that. But if you can't bring him back, maybe I can do it, like last time. What do you mean by that? He grabs his arm nervously and grips his tablet. It doesn't work here. There's no reception at all. It's as useless as a brick. He waves his tablet around frantically. I can't even begin to imagine how he's feeling. He's addicted to that thing, but it won't really work. He'd have to be going through some sort of withdrawal. It makes me cringe just thinking about it, but it's true. Max was right all along. I waste too much time on this thing. I didn't think it was really harmful, but just look at what happened. I was clearly lying to myself. But who knows how long we'll be here. And I won't be able to use it like I want, so I have no idea what to feel right now. Everyone's always telling me to stop. They say, what's so important on there? I'd never tell anyone. I hid it. Max was one of the first to find out, and look what she did because of it. Strapped me to a bomb, made my past bite me. But I realized the truth that day. A lot of things just suddenly became clear. Facing death can do that to you. They didn't ask because they wanted to know. They asked because they were concerned. What's more important than them? Why did I neglect them for my tablet? Max said you'd all think I was a freak. That just scared me even more. But I realized something. I have to. This tablet use doesn't affect just me. It affects everybody around me. It can hurt them more than it can hurt me. Murders and bombs are extreme, of course, but these are just physical ways. These are just physical ways to be hurt. I fear most of the damage was emotional. I started owning up to it, though. I made some real progress with Eclair. I'm even tempted to go back to Cafe Chat. I've been calling it Cafe Chat, but I found out since it's fucking French, it's like Cafe Chat or something. I prefer Cafe Chat. I'm sorry. Minato. It's Minasato, motherfucker. I am such an idiot. But that's the sad thing about this. I was missing out on all that stuff. I could have experienced it years ago. If only I handled my grief a little better. I mean, look at Singe. Barely affected. I wish I could be as calm as he always is. And Shock? Well, bad example, but you get it. I didn't handle mine like a rational guy. I start to wonder what he's talking about. I'm not sure how grief was related to tablet use. I decide that's a good question to continue with. Well, that's the thing. I have never really told anybody before. Max only knew because she was spying. I feel like I can trust you with this. It's not like any more damage could be done. We're in too deep, if you ask me. So I guess I can tell you a little bit. But let's not make a big deal out of this. I'm not pouring my heart out or anything. Let's call it Fun Facts with Rook. No judging, no laughing, just learning. It'll make me feel better that way. That sounds like something Rook would do. He has a way of dancing around important topics. But I guess nobody likes confronting their flaws. I'm still a little hesitant, but I need to prove Max wrong, you know? I really don't think I'm a freak. But there's only one way to find out. I have to start opening up to people. I have to start branching out. It'll be a useful thing to do. That is, if we ever get out of here. I shrug, but he definitely has a point. This might be a place to ponder new beginnings. We could think of ways to make our life better. Now, I don't even know where to start, so let's go right to the beginning. This is going to be a long episode, isn't it? Oh, good. When I was younger, I had a sort of mentor. Well, this already sounds familiar. I was born to be a businessman, he'd say. I held a gift that when it came to that stuff. I was good at organizing and managing, but I wasn't great with people. It was the one thing I needed to work on. He helped me break out of my shell, though. He taught me how to interact with people. I was never really good at social cues. But soon enough, I was socially adept. I don't mean to brag or anything, but I'm good at whatever I set out to do. At that point, I was good at everything. This is the fucking... this is the song that's very similar to Xanarkand. The song is called To Xanarkand. It's the piano song for Final Fantasy X. I pointed it out last time I heard this song. It's the same! It's the same! Business management and PR, not to mention my knack for technology. I'm gonna make a long story short here. I left America and came to Japan. It wasn't too hard to learn the language. That's how I ended up in cafe chat. Shay. Oh, I don't know, I don't care. I know it's stupid, me at a maid cafe, but you know all about that endeavor. Akihabara had everything I wanted. It's Akihabara. People, technology, opportunity. I used my skills to find happiness. But to be honest, I was a little lonely. My mentor refused to leave America behind. We could only talk to each other online. I'd never meet him face to face again. To me, he'd just live on my tablet. But it was better than nothing, right? I had popularity. I ran a maid cafe. He was more proud of me than anything. He really considered me one of his sons. I accomplished everything he dreamed of. There's no better feeling than that. For a time, everything was perfect. But we all know what that means, right? Tragedy is always sneaking up on us. It was a freak accident that took his life. Something went wrong at an investor meeting. It took a while before the news hit me. He lost his life in an investors meeting. Could that be related to what Akron told me? I started to think he was ignoring me, because to me, he just stopped responding. But I was shocked when the truth found me. I'm not proud of what happened next. My ability to perform at the cafe suffered eventually. I didn't even want to go. But could it go on without me? The truth is, it couldn't. But for some reason, I didn't care. I hid in my house and shut out the world. That's when my tablet use started. I knew a lot about technology. I was a genius when it came to that stuff. So I put together all of my skills and... He grips his tablet even tighter, sniffling softly. I thought that I could bring him back. I don't mean for real, of course, but chatting online wasn't real either. I dedicated my time to making a program, something to keep me company, you know? Something that would let him live on. I didn't leave the house for months. I ordered all my food online. This was more important to me than anything. It's kind of ironic, isn't it? He helped me break out of my shell, and then he put me right back in it. It was such a simple program at first. It would understand small phrases, and then it could give automated responses. But that's all I really needed. It wasn't much different from before, and this time he'd never stop responding. Gosh, I must sound insane right now. As we talked, he learned more and more, but like before, he taught me too. All the information took up tons of data, so I had to store them on the cloud. I'm guessing that's why it doesn't work now. But there you have it. Feel free to judge. I wanted my friend back. It's pathetic. But there's one thing you can't deny. He helped me, like he did before. We kept talking, and I got stronger. Eventually I could leave the house again. But by then, Cafe Chat was screwed. It seemed like they were about to close, so I really only had one choice. I sought employment immediately. That's when Singe hired me to work for him. A smart lackey. I was just what he needed. The salary was good, but not good enough. It would take years to save Cafe Chat, so I begged him for a lump sum payment. I might have pulled some strings, threatened him a little, but he really did need all of my skills. Eventually, he caved and gave me a check. A check-wee. I cashed it and immediately wrote a new one. I gave it to Eclair and Cafe Chat. I saved the business from bankruptcy, but it's the least I could have done. I put them there in the first place, and that's it really. We're here today, talking. I've come to terms with my mistakes. I'd still talk to him all the time. He'd give me advice on what to say or do, but now I think I need to do that myself. I need to face my problems head on. I can't just hide in my own fantasy. So that's what I'll do if we get out. That and mend things with Eclair. I need to make up for what I've done. There's so much lost time to recover. He gives me a soft smile before turning away. This is where it gets awkward, right? There's a silence, you're speechless. Don't worry, I'll save you the trouble. But if I could ask for one more favor, let's try to bring him back for real. That is, if the power exists. There's so much more I need to tell him. So much more for him to be proud about, and I'll work with you to make it happen. He walks away without another word. I guess that's all the mystery of the tablet. I'm unsure of what to make of the story. It's quite deep. It wasn't the best thing for him to do, of course, but all things considered, it ended up quite well. Cafe Chat was back in business, and he got a new job. He was able to break out of that shell once again. I remember all the time that I spent with him. I recall every moment he typed away on his tablet. All those situations were given a new meaning to me. I'd likely never look at him the same way again. But this was just the beginning. I had to let everybody in the house know I was okay with that, and I walked further down the tunnel. My mind wanders to who I might run into next. I walk deeper into the bunker. I'm more confused. I've never seen a place like this in my life. Were we even in Japan right now? Of course, I'd never know, so I just keep on walking. After a few moments, I notice Shock by a door. He's chugging on a can of Popstar and looks fatigued. He looks exactly the same to me. I don't know what you're talking about. Hey, William. It's good to see you up and about. Did Akron have a talk with you? I nod and tell him it's nice to see him, too. What a bunch of nonsense, hey? And here I thought he was becoming credible. I've never heard such a far-fetched story. You can't possibly believe that, right? I mean, we all handle crisis differently, but to validate it with fairy tales, his problems go deeper than I thought. And he's holding us in here because of it? If that's the case, we're not getting out. Whatever it is he's waiting for, it's not gonna happen. We need to escape before we starve. It made sense from his point of view, but he hadn't seen the things that we've seen. He hadn't directly witnessed the Ark or Max's power. To him, Akron was making stuff up. But I better not tell Shock that I believe him. If he knew I sided with Akron, he'd be angry. And that was something he was really good at. I decided to change the subject to avoid any drama. Perhaps he could tell me a little bit about himself. Ever since we met, he'd been caught up in the moment. A little relaxation and breathing room would help him. If anything, it would help time go by faster. Oh, my bond was strong enough. Hey! Well, I've been thinking about Clace a lot. I'm sure you've heard we go way back. I'm just reliving old memories. It makes me all nostalgic for Canada. But as much as I want to go back, I can't. That's the thing with nostalgia, it's fake. It's like looking at a shattered mirror. The pieces on their own look promising, but if you put them together, you'll see the full picture isn't what you want at all. You glorify the past with specific memories. Sometimes the bad is completely ignored. If I went back, I'd regret it. I mean, sure, I had lots of fun, but there was lots of hurt, too. I remember when I first met Clace. It was way back in elementary school. For some reason, he'd follow me around. I have to say, it was really annoying. Some random kid stalking you. I just tune him out and ignore him. You go as far back as elementary school? For some reason, I didn't think it went that far back. Anyway, my dad thought we were friends, so he got in touch with Clace's parents. Next thing I knew, we were hanging out. I thought my dad should have asked me first. Now I was forced to acknowledge him. This wasn't a school setting anymore. I didn't have any friends. I was clueless, so I decided to ask him why he followed me. I thought it was a reasonable question. Apparently, he knew my family was military, or should I say my dad was. My mom was long since out of the picture. But he said everybody else knew too. And that explained why I had no friends. He told me they were all afraid of me. I don't know why, but they were. And he told me it was for the best. He said that all the kids bullied him. Unless he was with me, of course. Since the other kids were scared. They wouldn't mess with him if I was there. This will sound weird, so just play along. But I always felt like I didn't measure up. My dad fought in wars, and I was just a kid. It kind of made me feel important. I mean, having someone count on me. So I made sure the other kids stayed away. We became best friends after that. All the way up until high school. But who doesn't drift apart then? My dad's military days came to an end. At that point, he was a private contractor. He got a job, and we had to move. I remember Clace taking it badly. But he had other things to focus on. He was starting to become recognized. Talent shows, contests, you name it. His career was sure to blossom soon. It's too bad I'd be gone when it happened. Perhaps me leaving was a good thing. He'd be able to focus on his future. Better than us distracting each other. It took a while, but I got over it. We tried to stay in touch, but failed. You know how that stuff can be. So I started to focus on my own career. Turns out I was great at soccer. Enough to give me a full academic scholarship. I could go to any school I wanted, so I aligned it with my dad's work. That's how I ended up in America. But something went wrong with this employer, some crisis at an investor meeting. Again? What the fuck? I never saw my father again. Another mention of an investor meeting. Could his father have worked for Armstrong? I wasn't in the mood to continue school. I dropped out, took a bit of a dark turn. My promising soccer career died with him. I wanted to join the military, maybe to follow in his footsteps, but they wouldn't let me do it. They said I was mentally unfit. It hurt, but I get what they meant. There was a chance I was being reckless. So I kinda just went underground. That part of my life is a blur. There's one thing I remember. Fighting. That's what I wanted, though. That's why I applied for the military. I had to find an outlet somewhere. And when they turned me down, I went elsewhere. The term Fight Club is totally cliche, but there's lots of martial arts rings. Not all of them played by the rules. But that's kind of what I wanted. It's a good way to sate my aggression. It's definitely a colorful background. He lost his best friend and his father. It must have been an emotional basket case. As odd as fighting was, it's good that he found relief. He must be somewhat out of shape, though. If I'm not mistaken, Akron disarmed him quite fast. Or perhaps Akron is just stronger than we think. Yeah, but nobody likes rule breakers. That's how you get the law involved. And trust me, they got involved. I was given a bit of an ultimatum. Stop the fighting or go to jail. Obviously, I chose to stop. But they still checked in on me. It was hard for me to stay anonymous. I had to show them I was done for good, so I decided to give them what they wanted. I picked up a guitar and started playing. The least violent thing you could think of. And what do you know? I was good at it. I didn't even have to practice. Nobody believed me, but I was a natural. So I started to play at open mic nights, and then the police left me alone. I guess they believed my little act. It's not like I like playing the guitar. I just do it when the circumstances need it. I actually started to get noticed. Clace was getting famous by then too. To be honest, I had no idea. My priorities were always elsewhere. I remember seeing him do an interview. It was on TV in one of the bars. I thought he looked so stuck up. A far cry from the guy I used to know. Fame can change people, I thought. I hoped it would never happen to me. But then I saw him, right there in the bar. He smiled at me and told me how good I was. He actually came to watch one of my shows. Usually, it was the other way around. You go to a show, hope to get noticed, you never hear stories like mine. We shared some drinks and got to talking. Turns out I was horribly wrong. He was still the same guy I knew. That's why he asked me to play for him. He was about to start touring. Him and his manager were seeking talent. I agreed without a single thought. And I can tell you now, it was a mistake. I was driven by my nostalgia, back when we were best friends, back when my father was alive. I wanted to feel that way again. Another situation for me to play the guitar, and a chance to relive those glory days. That was a recipe for this disaster. Touring with him and reconnecting, it was like rebuilding that broken mirror. We got the good, and then we got the bad. More death, more destruction. It became one huge nightmare. I wish I never agreed to join him. Maybe then they'd all be alive. Tragedy stalks me, you know. First my dad, now everybody else. And I couldn't even protect him this time. It was like that. It wasn't like that. It wasn't like when we were back in school. You can't relive the past. I was naive. He slams his fist against the wall. It looked painful, but he didn't even flinch. He seems to think he's responsible for all of this. That's why I decided to keep people away. I won't get close to anybody again. My true glory days, they were underground. I didn't make connections. I was solo. There was no one around me to get hurt. I think that's the best environment for me. So when we get out, that's what I'll do. I'll go back to how things were before, back when I only looked out for myself. Turns away from me like he's done talking. But wouldn't that be repeating his mistake? Going back underground would be chasing the past. If he knew what he was doing, he'd push forward. You're good, you know that? I didn't see it that way. Food for thought, at least. Last time we talked, he mentioned philanthropic work. That would be a much better idea than pedaling back. A relapse would only hurt everybody involved, and Clace would never agree to let him do that. Yeah, you're right. He looks back at me with tear-filled eyes. He just followed me like he used to. He walks away, his head held high, almost as if he's trying to mask his crying. But from what he told me, he has to move on. He's caught up in some weird superstition. There's no way he was responsible for this. It was just an easy way to enact self-pity. He had to move on and realize it wasn't his fault. His losses have been extreme, but he still had himself. As long as he didn't lose his path, he'd be okay. I hope he stuck to the philanthropy idea. I walk in the opposite direction, venturing deeper. After a few moments, I turn down a long corridor. Perhaps I could help the next person I saw, too. As I walk forward, I wonder who that might be. And that's it for this episode. Thank you all very much for watching this episode of Major Minor. On the next one, we'll talk to, I guess, whoever the fuck is next in this long line of shit. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, I have been the trained unprofessional, speaking for the voices in my head when I say, fare thee well. I'm trying to cut out stuff from the outro, and I've been maybe thinking of cutting the until next time, because I already say on the next episode we'll be doing, but until next time, I don't know. I'm trying to rework it so I'm not just fare thee well. It's like there's too much. I feel like I need to cut it down. When I say fare thee well, maybe I should cut the voices. I don't know. I like the phrase. I like it, and it works for me, but I don't know. Let me know what you think. Bye, everyone.